Um, these business seats don't recline. Instead, they have a flap that comes up to make a flat surface. But are they as comfortable as normal business seats that will have a chair that reclines? Let's find out. On this trip from Sydney to Singapore return, I flew on Finnair's new business class seats. Fortunately, I was able to experience it for the day and also during the night as well, as I was doing a red-eye flight from Singapore back to Sydney. When you look at the cabin, you can't really see much because each space looks like its own little pod. But when you're in your seat, it's pretty spacious. For this flight, I was in seat 1L, which I ended up liking a lot more than 2A, which I'll explain a little bit later in this video. And now it's time to start the flight with a glass of champagne. And then they get you straight onto the food. This menu is a Qantas menu that has been collaborated on with Neil Perry, and you get a few different options to choose from. And then one of my favourite things to do after this is to check the amenities kit. It's like discovering a new skincare routine every time I go onto a flight. Because this is a new product, they also give you a seat guide that shows you how to use the lie flat mode and other seat features as well. And there are also some other cool features and POVs that you can see from the plane. In seat 1L, the shoe storage is pretty spacious, whereas in 2A, it was just a little bit of a ramp. I really liked how the storage was integrated into the seat, so you actually get more seat area, which is great because I have a big ass. You can fit a lot of things into this storage area, including a laptop as well. There's also a second seatbelt here that you use when you lie flat. This is me just practicing when I finally get sponsored by DJI, but also showing you the storage space with the USB ports and also the headphones as well. And this wireless charging spot was one of the things that I would use a lot, but didn't really end up using because I couldn't use my phone at the same time. It took a bit of time to figure out how this table works, but basically that button unlocks the table and then you can pull it out. I felt like this table was less stable, especially when it was really turbulent. And now the moment we've all been waiting for. Let's see how this lie flat thing works. This sort of reminds me of one of those chairs at the cinema, except that the seat doesn't go back, and there's an extra little flap that you have to manually pull up yourself. But once you do that, it's pretty comfortable, except for the fact that the seatbelt sticks into your head when you're sitting diagonally. So let's get to the fun part, which is actually lying flat. I don't know what this is called, so I'm just going to call it a seat mattress. So basically you can take it out and line your seat with it. And that means basically you don't have to put your head where 100 other butts have sat. The seat itself is definitely a lot less cushioned and padded than some of the other business seats I've been in, which is a grand total of 2. Something that I thought was really interesting though was that in seat 1L, there was plenty of space for my feet, and I think for a tall person this seat would be perfect. But in seat 2A, the space for my feet was significantly less, and there was also this metal pole that my leg kept hitting as well. Okay, maybe not my leg, just my feet because I'm short. Okay, that seatbelt that we were talking about earlier, it's back. This is where you pull out the seatbelt, or try to pull it out, and then you clip it in over the other side, so that you're safe, or you can pretend that you're in a mental asylum, in which other passengers are safe from you. When I wasn't sleeping, I was mostly sitting like this, and I love how private this seat is. You can do the most cringy things and not care about anyone looking at you. And it was still pretty comfortable, except for that pesky seatbelt. The staff were really friendly, and during pre-meal service they kept topping me up, which I appreciated because I was doing a course at the same time on the flight. Nuts were also really good. I was also really hungry, so by the time the bread and soup came around, I devoured it all. And when I say devoured, I mean I ate. Today's food combo has been brought to you by pepe sayo butter with focaccia bread and pumpkin soup. But I really like the fish, and especially the scallops were really tender and flavorful. There is, however, one reason I wouldn't recommend seat 1L, and that's because I made a mess. But don't worry, I actually did get the cheese in the end. And then there was a spicy prawn dish, which I really should have asked more about, but it sounded really yum. But this ended up being so spicy. It got to the point where I just couldn't handle the spice anymore, and I had to call it quits. On the red-eye flight, we got breakfast, and there were different options to have a proper breakfast or rest a little bit more. I wasn't feeling too hungry, so I got the express breakfast. And I know that looks like champagne, but I'm pretty sure it was apple juice. Nope, you know what? That is actually wine. But I did make up for this with some fruit juice afterwards. Just ignore that sneaky chocolate that I had for breakfast as well. Overall, I didn't really mind that the Finnair seat didn't recline because the seat was so spacious and private. I'll definitely be trying to book the first row whenever I fly this class, and I can't wait to try this out on a longer flight. Anyway, I appreciate you for making it this far in the video with me. If you appreciate me too, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe to see more of my videos. And next time, I'm going to take you on a bit of a chaotic trip in Tasmania for my birthday.